Call the meeting to order and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance led by Dale.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
a little bit instead of Chuck start over with who the bidders were and the costs and kind of start from the beginning and move on down?
That's fine. Do I hear any objection to that? So I guess, Chuck, we're back to your original proposal and recommendations based on the bids that are before all of the board members, all of the voting board members.
Yes. Okay. Is it okay if I share my screen or
Yeah,
not?
I think she may have to authorize you to share, but just stand by a minute if Sarah can do that. I don't know if she left that option open to you directly, Chuck, so you can try it if you want.
Not directly open to him. I could make him the host and share his screen. And
If you want to make him a host or co-host, I think the co-host has usually those privileges also, whichever.
Otherwise, if you have the bid recommendation, you could just bring that up and I can go through that. That would also work.
And I think that's in your attached packet.
There you go. This will work. So if you just want to page down, we broke this project up into two bid packages. The first bid package was for the pump station, and it had 5 alternates, which included a prefab building, some substitutions for potentially some less expensive pipes versus ductile iron pipes, adding a mechanical trash rake, adding an isolation gate, and then adding a slide gate. So we received bids on September 24th. The apparent low bidder was Lametti and Sons from Hugo, Minnesota. They had a base bid of $1,769,017. Based on our updated estimates for 2020 numbers, our estimate would be $1,782,000. The highest bid was just over 2.2 million, and you can see the bidders were from Hugo, Mora, Jordan, Marshfield, and Jordan. So if we just page down a little bit. So here's a summary of all of the bids and the bid alternates. We are recommending Lametti and Sons, the lowest bid, with bid alternate number 5. That is a slide gate on the culvert just upstream of the lift station. So that way, if we ever needed to block the flow and completely dry out the lift station, we would be able to isolate that. So that's something we talked with staff. So we're recommending the base bid plus bid alternate number 5. Continuing down, just shows the totals with bid alternate number 5. And so we are recommending Lametti at the 1.785 number. For bid package number 2, that was for a 24-inch tile. That was also part of the improvement. The lowest bid was Far and Away Trucking from LeSueur with $49,900. We are recommending approval of their bid. It was under our estimate now and our estimate from a couple years ago. So just continuing down on the letter, shows all of the bid results. Because of the size of the project, these are all smaller companies. But we did receive some good feedback from Far and Away. We have not worked with them, but again, it's a fairly small project. So we did do a post-bid analysis looking at if the project is still cost effective. We updated the separable maintenance using 2020 average costs from the bid, which generally were about 20% higher. When with that, if you continue down on the letter, I do have detail attached. We want to go through that. If you stop right there, the project would still have a net benefit of $61,000, very close to what it had back when we approved this a couple years ago, updating the separable maintenance and the improvement costs. We can go into more detail on this, but based on that information, continue down on the letter.
Are we muted?
keep going. Keep going down to the very end of the letter portion. So I did put together the options that we just discussed, approving the bids as is, rejecting the bids, rebidding the project in parts, rebid the project with the redesign, and approve the bids and modify parts of the project. My recommendation is to approve the bids as is, and then do some negotiating or a request for information, essentially to see if we could get a lower price for the dirt that's hauled in and removing the structure at the outlet of the system. So there's more detail attached, but that's a summary of our bid recommendation to award bid package number 1 to Lametti and Sons and bid package number 2 to Faraway Trucking. They would both start probably immediately once we get contracts completed. The pumps take about 6 months to order. So if we got a contract going immediately, we could have the pumps potentially working and when we get a spring thaw or shortly after.
Jackie, does that cover the bases that you wanted to include?
Yes, thank you.
Is there any other additional discussion or questions? And if hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to act.
Well, Denny, this is Terry, and I'm about to make a motion, but I do have one final question then for Chuck, just for my clarification. Chuck, why wouldn't we remove the common borrow part and the demolition part? Is that because we'd have to restart a process? I just wonder why we don't just remove it then if we can't get it when we go back to the original contractor.
So to answer that question, we bid the project as a unit price bid. So we could ask to remove that. They might have put something else in part of that unit price. So I wouldn't, my recommendation to you would be to ask us to essentially get a change order to reduce those after the project is awarded and remove those. So not
Well, thank you, Chuck.
Removal. Ask us to do that and get that completed with the contractor.
Okay, then, Denny, this is Terry again. I would move Chuck's recommendation for approval.
We have a motion. Is that clear enough for all to understand? Just to make sure that is the as is Engineer Brandel's recommendation would be to approve the bids, which was the final engineer's report with amendment 2, and then the options. Is that correct?
That is what I intend. If you want Chuck to explain it one more time, that's fine with me, Denny.
I just want everybody to be clear, and Jackie, so that we're clear, how would you like that? And I guess, Madam County Attorney, how would you like that to be very clear on our action here?
Can you, I'm sorry, I was getting feedback on my end that I think has now gone away. Can you repeat your question to me, Mr. Chair?
The process of how we have a motion to approve as Engineer Brandel recommended in his letter, which was to approve the bids, which to my understanding was the initial bid to the primary contractor for the pump site plus amendment 5 plus
Alternate 5.
I'm sorry, was it amendment 5, Chuck?
Alternate 5. Yes.
Alternate 5, I'm sorry, alternate 5.
Yep.
Plus then a second bid to Faraway for the second portion, which is involving lateral 2, right?
Correct.
So my question to you, Madam County Attorney, we just want to have the motion to reflect that desire, and have we met those requirements? That's all I'm asking.
And just to clarify Terry's motion, it was to also then go back to the contractor and get clarification or to remove the common borrow as well as the demolition of the pump station at the completion of the project. Is that my understanding?
Terry, I'll let you speak to
This is
that.
Terry, that is correct. That is correct.
So the motion would be as you indicated, with the direction that he go back to the contractor to remove the common borrow and the pump station would be my understanding of Terry's motion.
That would also be mine. Do any of the other board have an issue with that? I'm still seeking a second.
I'll second that.
Marie seconds. Any additional discussion to make sure everybody's clear on this? Or is everybody okay?
Well, Mr. Chair, certainly I'm old enough to remember touring this facility with former commissioners Stenson, Dave Hack, and Bruce Beatty, and Clete Trepfer and Judy Hansen. This has been a long time coming. And the feedback that we've all received in these past few days was, it's damn expensive, but it's time to get it done. So I guess I would support this. The only question I have for Chuck, and this is because my mother taught me how to spell back when I was 5. Your last paragraph, in the engineer's opinion, requirements, and is cost effective. I think that should mean effective, right?
It should be E. You are correct.
It's an anal thing, I'm sorry. So
Yep, that should be an E.
I'll support the measure or the motion.
Marie, I guess you're the only one. Since you were the seconder, I'm assuming you're happy with this?
Not happy, but we don't have a choice.
Exactly. Very well. Hearing nothing else, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Miles? Commissioner Miles?
Yes.
Yes. Durano?
Yes.
Kemp?
Yes.
Lipke? Oh, not voting yes, sorry. Kohlers?
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously, and that completes our business for 86A and the bid process. I think that's the only item you had to recuse yourself on, Commissioner Lipke, so I would gratefully turn the board back to you as chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just now to go back to Mr. Fleege's question, at this point then, Mr. Brandel will be moving forward to contact the contractor to obtain the necessary contract and bonds, and then the project will move forward. So to answer his question about the project moving forward, that's procedurally where we're at this point.
Thank you. Oh, we got Mandy again?
No, we can go to 2020 annual maintenance levies. For
All right,
ditch.
thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to sign off.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you to
Chuck.
those who have an interest.
Oh, Lynn, did you have a question or?
Yeah, my only question was, that separate maintenance thing, the original was 900,000 something. If I'm not mistaken, then 900,000 would be charged back to the ditch system according to the old determination, and the new is charged back to the new determination. Does that 1.4 million now go
The Jackie
back
question,
to
isn't
the
it?
original?
Jackie and Chuck.
Yes,
I could answer that, or I could call you, Lynn, and answer that too, either way. So
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. If that's all right, I'll give Lynn a call offline and talk about that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, 2020 maintenance levies, is that Jackie?
Jackie.
It is. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as you're all aware, annually, our office reviews the balances in all the ditch systems. And this year I have several ditch systems that have negative ditch balances that I've determined that we should special assess back or charge back. I've attached the spreadsheet to indicate the breakdowns of it. If you want to refer to that spreadsheet, there's 6 ditches. County ditch 8A, and that's just for general maintenance and repairs. County ditch 16A, County ditch 24A, and County ditch 30A are for approved cleanings that we did have hearings on. County ditch 86A is for the pump maintenance and repairs, and this kind of can show how much those pumps are costing every single year. And County ditch 96A had some general maintenance and repairs as well. So I have attached the findings and the order in your packet for your consideration. The order is for those 6 ditches and the amount to levy. The order also lays out the terms if not paid before December 31st, 2020. So that would be for, oh, there we go. So that would be if they're not paid by December 31st, they will go on the tax rolls at a 4% interest rate, and depending on the amount of the assessment, a 1 to 3 year assessment on those properties if not paid. So I would be asking the board to approve those findings and order.
One motion or 6 of them?
This would be one motion for the entire findings and order.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move for the findings of fact and the directive as indicated in the resolution.
Is there a second?
Okay. Terry's on mute.
Terry, did you say something? I think we lost him.
Yeah, he's connected.
No, I did it, but if, are you looking for a second?
Yes.
Oh, I'll second, so if there's any discussion.
Okay, you have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Or no, sorry, roll call.
Kemp,
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Lipke,
Yes,
Drano,
Yes.
Kohlers.
passes.
Thank you.
Can adjourn the,
We'll adjourn the drainage meeting and return to the regular board meeting. Mandy, you have something for us?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board again. Today is our public hearing for the adoption of the County Comprehensive Plan. I just want to give a little background and then I'll turn it over to Craig Vaughn with SRF Consulting Group to do a short presentation about the information that they found and some additional data sources and a brief layout of the plan. Like I said, just a little history on this. The plan was originally adopted in 1985, so it's approximately 35 years old and definitely is in need of an update both with the demographics and some statistics, but also then updating of the general maps within the plan. Throughout the process, we did meet with members of the public, whether through the project management team, the focus groups, or the open houses, which were specifically to address public participation and to get feedback. In addition to those open houses, survey was also available for the public to complete. The results of the survey and the open house exercises are in Appendix A if you're curious. That is all housed within the comp plan. So there are specific comments that we did receive from the public, and then the overall exercises which was an opportunity for the public to suggest areas for rezoning or for certain activities. Last week on November 16th, the Planning and Zoning Advisory Commission did hold a public hearing as required by statute. We did receive one comment from a member of the public, and this individual was actually there to attend a different public hearing, but did raise the question, and just more out of curiosity, as if the county had a plan or a map available of all of the existing feedlots located. We have not heard anything from this individual as far as she would want to pursue that, but we do have that data available. As far as that, we did not receive any additional comments at the meeting, nor prior to the meeting, whether it be email, letter, or a phone call. And so with all the information and the presentation, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the request. Before I get any further, though, I think we do want to share our screen, Sarah, with Craig Vaughn, so he can do his presentation, and then we'll be available for any questions following Craig's presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Can you everyone hear me okay? I think I saw a couple head nods. I'll go with that maybe.
Yeah, you're good, Craig.
Thank
you.
Good morning. Let's see if I have the screen share capabilities here. I just need that turned on, whoever has the controls on that side.
It looks like you're a host now.
Okay, I'm going to stop the other person from sharing then. It's asking me. Alrighty.
Mr. Chair, I'm not getting any sound from Greg. Is that my problem or your problem?
Our problem.
Heather, can you hear me?
Oh, no.
Okay, Heather can hear me.
Yeah,
Michelle can hear me. Okay, I see some names and faces here. Mr. Chair, are you able to hear me as well?
Yeah, we can hear you, Craig.
I think I see a thumbs up. Okay, there we go, Mr. Chair.
Now you're back. I must have been in the swap over for host. Thanks.
Okay, no worries. Sounds good. Alrighty, well, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thanks for having me here this morning. I'm going to proceed with our presentation regarding the update process overview for the Nichola County Comprehensive Plan update. I'll give a brief overview of the comprehensive plan itself with respect to each of the chapters, and then I'll finish with a very succinct and brief slide regarding next steps and your opportunity for adoption of the comprehensive plan. The update process from an overview perspective was one that was based on 4 different phases: data collection, gathering demographics and physical information about the county and population projections, outlining the goals and policy statements for a vision for the county over the course of the next 20 plus years, and then working through the planning analysis phase to analyze the different categories relative to land use, transportation, parks and rec, and natural resources, and then laying out the plan, actually documenting all of that work in coordination with county staff. All throughout, public engagement was a component of the process, as Mandy identified in her opening comments. Here's just a brief graphic to kind of give you a feel once again for that. Just to reiterate here, we did have the online community survey, which was used early in the process to gather issues and opportunities, evaluation or assessment from the public. And then throughout, we conducted early in the public open houses with 3 meetings early in the process, including interactive activities, as Mandy pointed out, including the appendix, and then future direction that the public would like to see for the county over the course of the next 20 plus years. And then those focus group meetings midway through the process to come back around and say, you know, relative to land use, transportation, and parks and trails, what are some guiding light that they'd like to shed on the process as well. From a plan development standpoint or framework, there's 8 chapters broken down into an introduction, county context, goals and policies, land use, transportation, natural resources, parks and trails, and then finishing off with an implementation chapter. I'll provide an overview of each. The introduction chapter is pretty straightforward. It identifies the purpose of the comprehensive plan process, the project management team that was engaged throughout, and the public engagement activities provides an overview and summary of that material. It's just a broad overview of the comprehensive plan content too, with respect to each of those chapters being summarized, kind of serves as an executive summary of sorts. The county context chapter is really the foundational element for the comprehensive plan, gives you kind of an existing condition standpoint of who are we today and what do we have from a base condition standpoint relative to the region, demographics, housing, employment, and the physical environment. With respect to the demographics, we document things regarding gender and age cohorts throughout the county to get a feel for what's the county makeup as it stands today and how might that project out into the future. Historic population trends to understand where we've been and where we might be going. The county is currently at about 34,000 population, and then it's broken down with some of the other major larger urban centers within the county. Population projection standpoint, sitting around that 34,000 today, we're seeing or projecting, the state demographer projects about a 4.4 increase in the population throughout the county from here on out for the next 30 years, getting out to around that 35,000 value out into the future. So not significant growth per se, but yet growth nonetheless distributed throughout. Housing values and understanding our housing stock is also included within the existing conditions context chapter. As you can see here, it's quite the bell curve with respect to the county as a whole, and then those larger urban centers as well, being centered around that $150,000 to $200,000 range to $200,000 to $300,000 from a good housing stock standpoint across the county. Employment, understanding by industry what types of employment make up job opportunities here throughout the county, with manufacturing and education and health services being the two largest cohorts for job opportunities and employment within the county. And then also understanding from an age standpoint, or the age cohort or demographic over the years, how that projects with the 35 to 44-year-olds really making up the most substantive age cohort there, not only today, but also out into the future, which tends to make sense. And lastly, for the context chapter, just understanding the physical environment. This is just a representative graphic, but where do we stand with our water resource, soils, etc. Chapter 3, the goals and policies chapter, documents the comprehensive plan intent and identifies the goals and policies for the key plan elements that were mentioned. It lays out the idea of who or what Nicollet County wants to be in 2040, and those goal statements provide an outlook for a desired condition out into the future, and the policies provide the course or action that should be considered during the decision-making process by either staff within the county and yourselves as the county board managing the system. I'm going to read the comprehensive plan intent statement here. Nicollet County is a community built from its agricultural heritage, sense of place, and cooperative spirit that will be forward-thinking while planning for the future. The county will lead efforts to be sustainable, inviting, and proactive as it works with residents and stakeholders to guide development. Nicollet County will work to preserve infrastructure, the natural environment, and access to a high quality of life through thoughtful planning and innovative actions for the benefit of all residents, current and future. Pretty aspirational statement there, but one I think that sets the county up well for the future. And those goals and policies are outlined across 5 areas, not only the 4 key comprehensive plan elements, land use, transportation, parks and trails, and natural resources, but also just from a broader based long-range planning set of goals and policies as well. Chapter 4 now, getting into those 4 key elements of the comprehensive plan. Existing land use, that covers existing land use, the land use authority and official controls that the county has relative to the zoning and their zoning ordinances, and then land use planning with respect to jurisdictional growth planning, future land use, and key themes that are outlined with respect to the land use across the county. Key takeaways from the land use chapter are that agriculture will continue to be a principal land use activity within the county, and that pressure for development will continue to be strongest on its eastern fringe, right? We have quite a bit of our larger population centers on the eastern edge of the county and kind of southeast. Higher incomes, greater mobility, and more leisure time could increase the recreational demand within the county and people's ability to have access to Nicollet County. And rural Nicollet County will be influenced by larger urban centers outside of the county, that being Mankato, New Ulm, Owatonna, Faribault, Rochester, others from outside, either having jobs that people export to or people coming into the county from those larger urban centers. Chapter 5 is regarding transportation. The county does not have a formal standalone transportation plan, but the comprehensive plan does summarize transportation within it. There's a number of things that were looked at and reviewed as part of this transportation system review: existing county-owned roadway conditions, potential system enhancements regarding roadway jurisdictional changes or opportunities for Nichola County to consider, transportation system management relative to access management or right-of-way preservation as projects are conceived or move forward, and then future considerations, being able to reference the Mankato, North Mankato Area Planning Organization's long-range transportation plan, as some of Nicollet County does sit within that Maple boundary, and then potential consideration for developing a Nicollet County standalone transportation plan, something that was just identified and talked about within the comprehensive plan. Key takeaways are that there's 40 potential instances where the county could transfer roadway ownership onto a city or a township. Those are those jurisdictional transfers based on an analysis of the county system. The county will work to preserve right-of-way and complete environmental documentation prior to acquisitions when necessary. The county will coordinate with the Mankato, North Mankato Area Planning Organization as an agency that can assist with managing the transportation system regionally, as was pointed out. And again, the county could benefit from a broader standalone countywide transportation plan. Excuse me. Chapter 6, Natural Resources. It documents the existing conditions relative to water and the county's land topography and soils, as well as opportunities for renewable energy with respect to solar resources or wind resources. Key takeaways from the natural resource chapter are that the county's wetland system is made up of the Minnesota River and several lakes, streams, and creeks, and wetlands within the Minnesota River Basin. The county will continue to monitor and partner with other jurisdictions as appropriate on issues regarding diminishing groundwater in order to protect that natural resource. The county will work with their aggregate businesses throughout to ensure these operations can continue in a sustainable manner to manage this resource as an opportunity within the county. And then large portions of the county actually were identified as suitable for solar or wind energy production based on certain conditions that exist within the county. Chapter 7, regarding the parks and trails, documents the existing conditions for county parks, trails, and recreation areas, wildlife management areas across the county, state park facilities, and then the city park, nature areas, and recreational facilities. Key takeaways from the parks and trails were the county will continue to run 2 county parks as well as its trails, and the wildlife management areas within the county will serve and continue to serve as an important hunting, fishing, wildlife watching, and tourism attraction for the county going forward. Chapter 8, pretty important chapter with respect to any piece of documentation, is kind of the not so what statement, but what now? How do we go about managing the plan, utilizing the plan, leveraging it for our future management of systems across the county? The implementation action steps were identified for each of the comprehensive plan elements that I had mentioned previously relative to long-range planning, those broader items, and then the 4 specific ones on land use, transportation, natural resources, and parks and trails. The implementation plan chapter is broken down with the plan element being identified on the far left and implementation action, a relative time frame, in broad swaths, and then the responsible parties, whether that's specific departments within the county or others external to the county for coordination. I have here in the presentation each of these listed out. I don't intend to read through each of them, but it is broken down into various sections as previously stated for each of those elements: land use, transportation, natural resource, and parks and trails. With that, while it's a pretty succinct and high-level overview, I do appreciate the time that you allow me to share just an overview of the comprehensive plan, and I'll close there by stating that my understanding is the next steps are an opportunity for the county board to consider plan adoption. Mandy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Craig. Are there any questions for myself or Craig regarding the comp plan? I just want to reiterate, so the Planning and Zoning Advisory Commission did recommend unanimous approval with a couple of small changes with it, which I believe were incorporated into the plan. But otherwise than the one comment, we did not receive any additional comments from the public. So what I'm asking today is for the adoption of the comprehensive plan.
Mandy and Mr. Chair, I would recommend at this point, we officially open the public hearing to take any comments that have been provided or anybody in attendance. And I'll ask Sarah and Dale, is anybody out in the boardroom who has showed up to comment?
Currently, no, there is not. And Craig, if I could ask, you could return host to Sarah.
I will stop sharing. I believe Sarah should be able to take it back.
Thank you.
So do you want to officially open the hearing?
Okay, we'll open the the closed hearing, not the closed hearing, but the board hearing.
So we're opening the public hearing here, and there is nobody in the county boardroom that has showed up in person to comment. I do not see anybody on the screen.
There were no letters, correct?
Mandy, do you have any written comments or anything?
No, I did not receive any written comments or email.
So we'll close the public hearing.
Okay, with that said, yes, I believe the chair can close the hearing here.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
Jack.
Ryan.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, Ryan, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say we can go to discussion here.
Yes.
Well, prior to any motion, Mandy, are you satisfied with the feedback that has been received during this process? And does it set our county on the right course for this plan?
Yes, I would say I am pleasantly happy with or surprised at the feedback that we did get prior to the comprehensive plan update process. There was a lot of discussion and comments from the public concerning the activities that were allowed, and felt that there needed to be expanded activities. Based on the comments we did receive, there was a significant amount of support to maintain agricultural property as agricultural property, and understanding that that really is the core of Nichola County, our farming community. And so with that information we received with the public and the surveys, I think there's just a disconnect with what people think can happen and what can actually happen. There are several opportunities for home occupations and businesses in our rural area. I think there's just, like I said, a disconnect or the purely under misunderstanding of what is allowed. We have permitted several home occupation outside in the rural area. We have a couple of them that are pending at this time. So I am happy and confident that the comp plan will address all of the comments that we received and to allow Nichola County to continue to grow, but also maintain the agricultural community that it was essentially established Nichola County, but allow our farmers to continue to farm without concern of housing developments impeding on their agricultural practices.
Anything else, Mandy?
No.
Thank you for that summary. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I will move that we adopt the comprehensive plan as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Oh, Mandy, you did say that the Planning and Zoning Board was 100% behind this?
Yes, there was unanimous approval of the document.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, only to say, and
Go ahead, Jack.
I thank Marie and the Planning Commission, and certainly grateful to Mandy for the work. It is important to plan. And so with the work that Craig Vaughn gave us, I think it's important that this passes.
I will just add, we do have a transportation section in here, which is a little bit unique for a comprehensive plan. But Seth, did you have any comments regarding the transportation piece?
Sure he's on.
Oh, he's maybe not connected. So Craig did review that section. That is a little bit unique, but I think it lays out some good guidance for the county board and staff as we move forward.
Great, Brian.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I can, Seth.
I don't have any comments unless people have specific questions about the transportation section.
Okay, I
Well,
guess.
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes, Jack.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Jack, go ahead.
Seth, thank you for being part of this. How do you see a county-wide plan for transportation working?
A countywide transportation plan would just be a much more in-depth analysis of our existing road conditions, the road system layout, and we would probably get into a real detailed discussion about future improvements and enhancements to the system. I guess that's the best high-level statement I can give on that.
Okay, anybody else? Otherwise, we'll call the roll.
Drano,
Yes.
Kolars,
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Lipke,
I'm gonna abstain.
and Kemp.
Yes.
Okay, passes, thank you. We're down to chair's reports then?
John, this
Yes.
is Terry. I apologize to everyone, but my mother's doctor has been trying to call me. So if there are no other votes, I'd like to leave the meeting at this point.
Yes, Terry, go right ahead.
Great, thank you. Thank you all.
Yep, thanks, Terry.
Bye.
Take care.
Good luck with everything.
So yeah, we're down to the chair's reports.
Okay. Well, I had the AMC general government. Was with the Rest of You with workshop a week ago and extension meeting the same evening, and Terry was at that. Terry and I met with Ryan for the salary negotiation. And yesterday I was on the computer with the Rural Minnesota Energy Board. So how do we do this? Marie, you want to go first?
Sure. I had planning and zoning, of which the items were presented today. I was on the AMC conference call regarding environment and natural resources. We had our board workshop last week. I had a Region 9 revolving loan committee meeting, and I had a Region 9 board meeting. And then last week we had Tri-County solid waste meeting.
Hey, Jack, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Terry Morrow and I canvassed the vote with Jackie and the other canvassers on November 13th. We had our AMC Transportation Committee on the 16th. Minnesota Valley Action Council, our workshop, Greater Mankato Growth, EDS, and last week's or today's county board. And thank you and happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe.
Thank you, Jack. Denny?
Well, since our last workshop, I had the drug court stakeholders meeting, emergency communication joint powers board, South Central EMS joint powers board, and the education collaborative joint powers board, and today's meeting. So I think that covers all of my issues, and I would echo Jack's greetings for the holidays and wishing all those that see us and hear us to stay safe. We know changes are afoot, and we would hope that all of you would exercise the safety guidelines as outlined. It's important. It's a big deal, and we want to keep people as safe as we possibly can. So thank you for allowing that.
Well, thank you, Denny, and you said it so well, I'm not going to say it. Is there a motion for adjournment?
No, per diem.
Per diem, sorry.
Yep.
I'd move per diems and expenses.
Motion, second.
Thank you.
Yes, Jack, thank you. Any discussion? Call to roll.
Kemp,
Yes.
Kolars,
Yes.
Morrow, oh, sorry, Lipke,
Yes,
Drano.
Yes.
passes. Anything else, Ryan?
Nothing else, Mr. Chair.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any more discussion? Anything else? Okay, call the roll. Go ahead, Marie.
Meetings and conferences? We skipped that on the agenda?
There's no update, other than, well, I take that back, Marie. You should have all received an email from, AMC regarding the annual conference this year, which is a virtual meeting in the afternoon of the 7th, I believe. So, you just need to register for that, and it'll be just a one-day session or one afternoon session this year.
Thank you, Ryan. Call the roll.
Kemp,
Yes.
Drannel,
Yes.
Lipke,
Yes.
and Kohlers.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John.
Happy holidays.